going to start with the example 5 divided by 15 decimal 9. We're going to divide this as if it was a whole number. The only difference is we're going to take this decimal and put it right up the top. So 5 divided into 1, well, that doesn't happen. But 5 times 3 is 15. So I'm going to put my 3 on the top. 5 3s are 15, so I write my 15 on the bottom, and then I subtract, and I end up with 0. I'm not done yet. I got another 9 there to bring down. So now I'm going to bring that 9 down, and I go 5 into 9. Well, 5 1s are 5, and that's the highest multiple I can find. So then I have to put the 5 here. I subtract again. 9 subtract 5 is 4. I still have a remainder here on my page, and I can't leave it at a remainder when I'm dividing by decimals. So I've got to keep going. So in order to keep going, I've got to write a 0 up here in the dividend, and then I can bring that 0 right down into the 40 to make this 40. So now I can do 5 into 40. And 5 times 8 is 40. So I put the 8 up at the top, I write the 40 down below, I subtract, and I end up with a 0 remainder. So the answer is 3.18. Now we're going to get a little bit more interesting. We're now not just going to have decimals in the dividend, but we're going to have them in the divisor as well. So here's a problem a little bit different. 2.5 divided by 1.75. In order to do this, we've got to treat everything like it's a whole number. So I'm going to move the decimal one place over in the divisor, but anything I do here, I have to do over here. So I'm going to move it one place over here as well. So then I end up with 25 divided by 17.5. 25 divided by 17.5. So I can do this. I've done this before. So I look at this and I go 25. Well, does that go in to 1? No. Does it go into 17? No. So I'm going to put this decimal at the top and try to figure out if it goes into 175. And it does. It goes in 7 times. Notice that I put the 7 at the end because it went into all 3 digits. So I had to put the 7 at the end of the 3rd digit. So 25 times 7 is actually exactly 175. So when I subtract, I end up with a 0 remainder, and my answer is decimal 7, and I can put a 0 placeholder here, so 0.7. In the last example, I started with 2.5 into 1.75. And in order to do it, I moved the decimal one place over in both the divisor and the dividend. And I ended up with 25 divided by 17.5. But how did I move the decimal? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Whatever I do to one, I do to the other. Then they're even and the answer works out. So if I start with 2.5, I can multiply that by 10. And when you multiply something by 10, it actually moves the decimal. So the answer to 2.5 times 10 is 25. Similarly, I can do the same thing to 1.75. So 1.75 times 10, well, that just means I have to move the decimal over 1, and I get 17.5. Then I can take these two numbers and put them back into the division and end up with an answer. That was moving the decimals over one place. Now what if I want more places? What if I had something like this? 0.007 divided by 6.3. Well, I know in order to do this, I really need a whole number by the divisor. So I can multiply by 1,000 because there's 3 spots that I need to move it. So I move it 1, 2, 3. And over here, I have to do the same thing. So I go 1, 2, 3. There's nothing in these two spots, so I've got to add zeros. This actually becomes, if I move it over, 7 divided by 6,300, like this. And although it's big, I can easily do that. So 7 divided by 63 goes in 9 times. 7 9s are 63. I subtract them and I get 0. But I've got more to do here because I've got 2 zeros right here that I haven't dealt with, and I have to deal with them. So I'm going to bring one of them down, and I go 7 zeros are 0. So I'll just do the process again, and then I'll bring the last 0 down. And again, 7 zeros are still 0. And when I subtract through, I end up with 0. It does, however, change the answer. My answer is 900.